Frogman is nothing more than a man in a giant frog costume. His real name is Eugene Patilio. Frogman's first appearance was in Marvel Team Up 121 from September 1982. Eugene's father was the former villain Leapfrog, and Eugene took on the costume to try and become a hero and redeem his father's name. His only real ability, however, is to leap great distances with electronic coils in his boots. Even so, he has still managed to help even the Avengers at times.
And now he has his very own action figure. Ciao and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And today we continue looking at the Marvel Legends Stilt Man Build-A-Figure wave, and in front of me today we have maybe the best figure in the wave. It is of course Marvel's Frogman. Now this guy has become an unofficial mascot to my live streams every Thursday at 8 o'clock UK time, as this is Brandon's favourite character in Marvel history, and now he has a figure of it, so I'm very happy for him, and I'm very happy for myself. Now I have him in my possession and I'm going to find a spot for him on my display for sure, as who doesn't like Frogman? Come on now, look how good of an action figure this is. Yeah, you can tell already that I'm pretty pumped for this one, but in it he does have a Build-A-Figure piece for the Stilt Man, so if you're building Stilt Man you can't skip on old Froggy over here, but he comes with a weapon, interchangeable hands, and yeah, he's looking good in the box. There's a picture of Frogman from the comics on the side, and on the back we're getting a little bit of a write-up that reads: Eugene Patilio suits up as Frogman in the misguided attempt to restore his family's good name. And then as always you get a list of all the figures in this wave you need to build the Stilt Man Build-A-Figure. Today we're reviewing Frogman. So just like I said in my sort of Who Is He style segment at the start of this video, Eugene is actually a good guy. A lot of people mistakenly thought that Frogman was some sort of funky, wacky villain, but he's not. He's a good guy. He's the old bad guy that was dressed as a frog was called Leapfrog. This is Frogman. This is Eugene, his son. He's trying to restore his family's name, and yeah, he's a good guy. So find a spot for him with the goodies on your shelf. So without further ado, let's get him open. And here we have Frogman out of the packaging with all of his accessories on the table. Now at first it appears he comes with quite a bit, but Frogman himself, however, only comes with interchangeable hands. These other pieces are for the Stilt Man Build-A-Figure, so you know the score. As always, I'll do my own separate review for the Stilt Man, so come back for my review of him. Until then, I'm going to push all these to the side because the gun and the interchangeable hand are for the Stilt Man Build-A-Figure, so let me move them to the side. Today's main event is, of course, Mr. Frogman himself. Now, I know Disney films have taught you that if you kiss a frog, he turns into a prince. Now, Brandon, don't kiss Frogman. He's not turning into a prince. He's going to stay as Frogman on your shelf forever. And remember to put him in a good guy section. He's not a wacky bad guy. He's a fun good guy. He's clumsy, but he gets the job done. Now, we forget action figure collectors can get stressful and we want all the A-list characters, but this is what collecting's all about. These oddball characters that you would never expect to get figures for, and this is Frogman's first ever figure. I don't think he's had any type of merchandise really before, definitely not an action figure at least. So yeah, it's so good to get first time characters on your display, and yeah, who doesn't want Frogman? This is just a fun piece, lots of fun with this one, I'm sure. I can't wait to see the ACBA and whatnot with this guy. So let's take a closer look and check out Frogman. So firstly, we have to talk about this helmet, because this frog mask helmet is essentially that. There is a man behind the mask, and maybe you didn't notice it at first and all you're seeing is the happy frog. But if you draw your attention to the frog's open mouth, you will see two little beady eyes in there. And that is Batman. Bruce Wayne is Frogman. I'm Batman. Come on, it does look a little bit like Batman, doesn't it? With all black face with the sculpted eyes in there. So yeah, if you now you've seen that, you won't not be able to see it, but the frog face is very happy and fun all the same. So if you didn't like that, I guess you could paint out the eyes if you just wanted a frog, but there is a man behind the mask. He is wearing a frog costume. It's an illusion, and this is an illusion because it's also very clever reuse of the Doc Ock body, which I'll show you a comparison of in a minute. Now this piece in the middle is a separate sort of rubber piece, and if I move it down, you'll see it very cleverly hides the ab articulation, which is like on a ball joint. So that is very nicely done, and you're going to get a lot of motion there, just like you did with Doc Ock. And the thing is, Doc Ock had tentacles out of his back, so now Frogman's backpack will actually hide those tentacles. So if I squeeze the backpack, you'll see behind there are the Doc Ock tentacle pieces, but now all 4 of those will plug into this backpack, which very cleverly hides the Doc Ock pieces. And it is accurate to Frogman's costume as well. So that backpack is not going nowhere, very nicely secured in those 4 little pegs there. But there's no paint detail to it, just all the same colour plastic. But I do like the different greens, so it makes it stand out, and they sort of match the sort of trunks and his gloves and his flippers. Now let me move down to the flippers because these are all new, obviously. Definitely no reuse here. So yeah, Frogman's only ability are these electronic coils on his feet that can make him jump like at least 6 stories high. So he can definitely jump very high. I suppose they help with swimming as well. They must do, right? But yeah, these are nicely sculpted and painted, so you can actually see the coils like a spring, if you will, attached to these flippers. So yeah, they're very, very nice. And again, there's a joint there hidden at the top of the boot, top of the thigh. There's a swivel. The waist, as I said, is on that ball joint, which you're going to get lots of motion there. The head as well, because it's a little bit gappy there, that gives you a lot of range to move the head as well. And then the rest of the body is what you expect with Doc Ock. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Pretty good. There's a bicep swivel, and obviously the wrists are as we'd expect. So talking about the wrists, let me just pull these hands up a second. So in the package, he comes like this: one sort of open palm hand and one fisted hand. But he does have 2 full sets. So first, of course, 2 open palm hands, a little bit more expressive. And then secondly, 2 fisted hands, because Frogman does like to give people a punching every now and then. As I said, he's a good guy, so he needs some bad guys to punch. And Frogman does clumsily win sometimes. He does clumsily capture the bad guys he's after. As I said in the intro, he's clumsily helped out even the Avengers at time. But yeah, Frogman, looking good. And as I mentioned earlier, this Frogman is some very clever reuse of this Doc Ock body. We all knew we'd get this body again, and I thought we'd maybe get Mole Man, as he'd be a great choice for this body. And I definitely didn't think in frog forms we'd get Frogman before we got Toad, as you could sort of use Toad for this body as well, depending on what incarnation of Toad you want to use. But still, very clever reuse after all. Again, it's just the head and the flippers, and then if I spin him round, you'll see Doc Ock obviously has the 4 ports for the tentacles, and again, they're very cleverly hidden that because obviously Frogman's backpack plugs into all 4 of those ports, so you can't even tell when he's on display. So yeah, bravo Hasbro, that is some very clever reuse. And again, both green, because there's a lot of green in the Marvel Universe, more specifically amongst the Spider-Man's Rose Gallery, as these are just a couple of characters I pulled off the shelf that wear green. But obviously Frogman is a good guy, so unless he's capturing these bad guys, you want to find a place for him on the shelf with the heroes. As I said, he's very clumsy, but he can get the job done. And the first villain that Frogman actually helped catch was Speed Demon. So even though Speed Demon's really, really fast, these coils made him bounce really far and went crazy. And I think he accidentally, as I said, clumsily just landed on Speed Demon and helped catch him by just sitting on him and squashing him. So yeah, the first villain that Frogman ever caught was Speed Demon. And every hero, of course, needs an arch nemesis, an adversary, and it makes sense for Frogman's to be animal-themed as well. And his is, of course, White Rabbit. He's definitely played a part capturing White Rabbit in the comics before as well, and these 2 would definitely pair nicely on display. To be fair, he looks like a nice henchman for White Rabbit, but nope, he's a good guy trying to capture her, and yeah, these look good together. And here we have Frogman compared to the retro Spider-Man and Peter Parker. As I said, Frogman has definitely teamed up with Spider-Man in the comics as well, so he fits within his universe very nicely. And we never got an unmasked Eugene head, but if you do want one of your other characters to cosplay as Frogman, you can pop the head off no problem and put on another head there. So here we have Peter Parker cosplaying as Frogman. So, final thoughts, I genuinely have nothing negative to say about this. Hasbro went out to make a Frogman action figure, and we may just have the best goddamn Frogman action figure there is. Well, he's the only one, but still, that means he's the best also. And yeah, he's just a fun action figure. As I said, these are toys after all, so these are fun characters that make you go digging in the comics again. And I always like characters that spark my attention like that. And he's definitely one you have to deep dive for, but he's worth it. He's a lot of fun. And yeah, I guess the only thing missing would be like an unmasked Eugene head, so people understood that this wasn't some sort of mutated Toad, and it is actually a man in a frog costume. As silly as that sounds, it's all good fun within the comics. So yeah, you let let me know what you think in the comments below. That is always the important thing. And if you're not interested in Frogman, then why not? Go out and buy him. Trust me, you'll be very happy with this action figure when you do get him in hand. He's a lot of fun, and he'll make for some fun action figure poses as well. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. And you know what to do if you want to support the channel. There's only one thing I ask, and that's please, please, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to do something extra though, you can go over to the Patreon and subscribe there as well. Much appreciated. Links in the description below. But until then, people, my name is Dan W. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and on Twitter at Dan Who Reviews. Until then, people, I shall see you on the next one.